Hello, everybody. All right, come on. We're at the club. We're at the club, come on. My wife, Miss Nicole Jenkins, and I are very happy to see you all today. For the first and probably the last time, I will be speaking on behalf of the two of us this evening. We'd like to start by thanking you all so much for being here. We are most grateful to Simon for his kind words and this wonderful setting. We really appreciate his attention to detail and his generosity as we enter this chapter of our lives. I respect and admire you, Simon, and I'm proud to be part of this family. Hilary, you are also a fantastic role model and a strong mum. Thank you for making me feel so welcome and being the consummate hostess at all times. Wait. Thank you both so much for all of your work to make this day possible. But most of all, thank you both for bringing up the girl of my dreams. You're going to have to accept my apologies for kidnapping her and taking her to Australia. Sorry about that. We are so pleased to be back here at the Hurlingham, a place where Nicole played as a child, a place that is part of your family's history. Nicole's brothers, my new bros, George and James, thank you for all the hard work you've put in over the last few days. Much appreciated. Thank you for keeping my spirits up, my glasses topped up, and for making me laugh at family gatherings. In my own background, there are a team of dedicated saints and professionals who've cleaned up my mess for 33 years. Sally, you became best friends with my mum 60 years ago, and 30 years later, your eldest was teaching me how to walk. 30 years later still, he taught me to walk again at my stag, and I returned the favour a couple of weeks ago at Fred's. 30 years from now, we will be looking up at a dais at our own kids. Your sons, where's Fred? Your sons, eye contact, it says eye contact. My groomsmen are like brothers to me, and now to Nicole. We have laughed through 3 decades, and I love you a lot. Daddy, Dad, Padre, you're a legend. The support, the console, the consolations of philosophy, the puns. Less the puns. The genetic predisposition to make hilarious jokes on a regular basis is something that will be passed down to future generations, whether they like it or not. Thank you, Dad. Now, when you look at Nicole and me up here, the term punching above his weight might be bandied about a little bit. But if there is one person in this room responsible for making that magic happen, it's my mum. Mum, you worked so hard and sacrificed so much to bring me up, to teach me a deep respect for women, and to give me a beautiful future life and wife. Thank you, Mum. So quickly, for my mum, for my new mum, and for your mums, a toast. The bridesmaids, Kat, Julia, Lucy, thank you. Thank you so much. While remaining radiant yourselves, you've kept Nicole in check. You all look so lovely. And another toast to the radiant bridesmaids. Oh, I better calm down, actually. And thank you. Thank you very much, Zoe, for managing us with aplomb. Is Zoe here? She's here. Thank you, Zoe. And to the club itself for hosting us and letting people like you in a place like this. Thank you, Stace, for the amazing stylish job. Nat for the stationery and design. Darren, Dom, and Andrew for the music. Much appreciated. Many thanks. Mary, thank you for doing the photos. Nick and Roche, thanks for the 360 and the general awesomeness. Thank you very much to my ushers. My best man, of course. And finally, I have more to say about that later. And quickly, a toast to my grandmother who can't be here, and absent friends and family. Absent friends and family. So, it's traditional to talk about when we first met. Now, I remember this clearly, but rather awkwardly, Nicole doesn't recall our first encounter. Testament to my game at the time, I suppose. So instead, I'll tell you about an unassuming street behind Clapham South Tube Station called Malwood Road. It's on this street that Simon lived when he met Nicole's mum, and coincidentally, I was living on this same street when I met their daughter 40 years later. I was living with the best man, Larry, who at the time was but a mediocre boy. Fred, who gave our beautiful reading, invited me to Kat, the maid of honours, birthday party with those weirdos from West London. Some of them are here now. You're all freaks. And it's fair to say that Nicole was not my first girlfriend. All right. I'll skip that bit. But by our third date in Lisbon, I knew she would be the last. Now, sorry about that. I remember watching her walking down the Askew Road after our first conversation. She had these cowboy boots on, and one of the heels had been chewed by a dog. And our dog. That attitude, the looks, and a complete disinterest in me, and I just knew. So Kat and Fred backed me up, I chatted her up, and she turned me down. Nailed it. But I kept at it, and 5 years, 5 houses, 5 jobs, 6 animals, hundreds of places, thousands of miles, and the best years of my life later, here we all are. Nicole. All right. Nicole, you're going to have to be quiet because you can't hear me. All right, so Nicole Jennifer Mary Jenkins. She's made from gold, so pretty, so effortless. I fell in love when I first saw her, and I fall in love with her when I look at her now. She is beautiful and kind, and she is, as Shakespeare would have termed it, a buffting. And although all right. And although I am the hilarious one, she makes me laugh all the time. But, it's deeper than that. So if you really want to know the real reason I got down on one knee in an empty restaurant on the southern tip of Australia, we have to come back to England circa 1989 and a little girl who loved ponies. You have to consider her commitment to the horse that she bought with the money that she earned sweeping a yard in her holidays, to the animals she cares for at work and at home. We have to come back to the sausage. The sausage is the dog, not the meat product. She's a vet, you see, which in this family passes for rebellion, a family full of doctors. And when we met, there was this strange, meaty little 3-legged dog hopping around in her house. Now, unfortunately, sausage meat can't be here today because, well, that would be ridiculous. It's a dog. It's 10,000 miles. Come on. But the story of that abused, broken, and abandoned dog, how she saved it, how she fixed it, how she gave it a sister called Ratums to play with, how she loved them, how she cared for them, and how she put them first, how she took me in, another how she took me in, another feral, unneutered stray. How she showed me an unselfish love, how I learned, and I'm still learning, to put others first. The simple pleasures, life outside the city, she showed me those. I'm South London from day, bruv. City boy. But I'll tell you a secret. Happiness lies in fresh air, wide open space, Shambhala, beaches, apart from the media and the noise of society. I've traveled a lot, and we have access to amazing places and wonderful cities. But to share the simple pleasures of swimming in the river together, an empty beach, the desert at night, watching a three-legged dog run down the beach and jump into the surf, that way happiness lies. No. It's not always easy, though. It's not always easy. Clean carpets and life without dog hair are a distant memory. Poo bags in every pocket are a constant embarrassment. And you should never, ever ask a vet what she did today at work over dinner. In her relationship to animals, she reminded me of what my mother had first shown me, that love, real love, it's unselfish, it's tough, it's messy, it involves sacrifice, but it is, in the end, what life is all about. So thank you, Nicole, for showing me what it's like to live in a zoo, and for supervising me and the other animals, for putting up with crackly phone calls from Shanghai and Tokyo when we first met, the broken back, the log absences at Cambridge for the Masters, and then for staking everything on Australia. Thank you for being the intrepid explorer, the beautiful partner, and my best friend. For seeing something in me in Australia for the adventure it has become. Sorry, I'm nearly done. So, Australia. If you really want to understand how much you appreciate your family, and some of you have done this, then I suggest moving 10,000 miles away. The level of sacrifice that takes is profound, and I cannot describe how much we miss you. But we love it there, and we love you, and we love each other, so it's all right. So it's a great spread, reasonably good turnout too. People come from all over, as Simon's mentioned. We even got Noah out of Walthamstow, which is incredible. Incredible. Rich, Phil, Emily, Helen, and Graham, thank you in particular. You're good friends and family who've come 10,000 miles from Australia to be here. Thank you. Buy them a drink later. Now, I never knew what I wanted to do when I grew up, and now I work for a company I made up in a country I didn't know, and I live with a girl who likes musicals and removes testicles for her job. Life is strange. Everything is change and flux and uncertainty, but maybe once in a while you get a flash of certainty, a chance to love without precondition or reservation. This here now is me taking that chance with you. I'm incredibly fortunate to have her. We live a charmed life in the lucky country, as Australia is known, and this is why I didn't want any gifts for us. We have everything already. Other people are not so lucky. Other dogs don't get rescued and flown to Australia. So rather than the tea towels and the toasters, you've raised $2,500 to fight malaria and save animal lives. So thank you very much. Now, please have a round of applause. So that's like 1,000 malaria nets and untold animals helped. So we do have the power to change the world, and we just did. And we should be humbled by that. And as we look around this lovely setting on this beautiful day, we should be grateful and humble in general. But you will forgive me some conceit on my wedding day. The rest of you are indeed very, very lucky people. But I am the luckiest man on the planet because I just married the loveliest lady in the world. Please raise your glasses to luck, to love, and to my beautiful wife, Nicole. Cheers. Okay. All right. Okay. And now. And now for the best man speech. To those who don't know him, Larry is a hero. He has been a partner in crime, a dear friend for a very long time. And he even got me back from the Bulgarian mountains in one piece. But unfortunately, he is a tax lawyer. So it's safe to say he won't be funny, none of it will be the truth, and you can ask him for a rebate at the end. Larry, please take the floor.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm not too sure giving me some stick just before I'm about to talk about you is such a good idea. A couple of the stories that were cut out might have to come back in. First of all, I'd just like to thank Lewis for his kind words. They clearly weren't about me, but on behalf of everyone, thank Lewis for his kind words. And just to reiterate what he said about the bridesmaids, they've done a fabulous job. I think everyone will agree, and they look wonderful, as does, of course, Nicole. Now, I don't mind telling you how nervous I've been about this speech. So I did prepare a few lines earlier. And now that those have kicked in, I'm feeling a lot better. You can see where the speech is going. So where do I start? Lewis and we met in the summer of, I think, 2001, 2002. So that was around when he was 18 or 19 at a language school for foreign students back in my hometown of Hastings. I still remember the first time we met, this cocky-looking kid, baggy trousers, T-shirt down to his knees. Nicole, I remember him when I first met him. Difference there. Now, anyone who knows anything about that job will know that there are obviously a lot of stories that I could tell you about Lewis, and I do mean a lot. But you'll also know that none of them is appropriate for a wedding. So this left me a little bit stuck when I was preparing this speech. It's because I didn't know him as a child. I didn't really have the usual innocent, slightly embarrassing stories from then that one might typically tell. So I asked around his friends, and I did get a little bit of information. One is his ability to sleep anywhere and everywhere. So much so that apparently when his father, Terry, used to take him on the back of his motorbike when he was younger, he literally had to be strapped in case he fell asleep. I'm not sure if he did ever fall off. If he did, it might explain a few things. Another is that his mother, Frances, has what I can only describe as an interesting picture of Lewis on her wall. It's a picture of Lewis, naked, chasing chicks. Now, before you judge me, this isn't from the language school days, as A, that would be a bit weird for Frances to have on her wall, and B, it would be, again, inappropriate for a wedding. The picture is, in fact, of Lewis, 2 years old, and the chicks are baby chickens. I can, though, see how you might have got confused when I was talking about his later life. Perhaps a sign of things to come. I did also ask about him at school, whether he had any sporting prowess, etc. And I heard that he was quite keen on his football, but that, to be honest, he was pretty rubbish in every position. Nicole, hopefully you'll have better luck tonight. Although we didn't know each other as kids, we've been through quite a lot together. We've worked together, we've lived together, been on holiday. And over this time, it's been quite clear to me that two of Lewis's passions are travel and partying hard. This is the guy who insisted on his stag being at a festival up a mountain in the middle of nowhere in Bulgaria, which is 4 hours to get to, and then 6 hours from the airport, i.e. a bloody mission. However, I think all those who are on the stag will agree it worked out pretty damn well. Now, while I think that he and Nicole have pretty much nailed it with their move to Australia, if you're friends with them on Facebook, you'll see that they're at a festival pretty much every other week. It hasn't always worked out so well for Lewis, this travelling and partying hard. And there are two examples that spring to mind. One of these involved an ex. Now, I know ex is a bit of a risque topic, but I think this one's okay. So, Lewis thought that he'd surprise his girlfriend at the time with a weekend away. I think it was to Amsterdam. They went out the night before, and it got to the time when most normal people would think, it's a bit late, we've got a flight early tomorrow morning, best go home. Including his girlfriend also thought that. But not Lewis. He thought, too early, let's stay out. There's plenty of hours to go in this night. We can just, head back, and if we don't get any sleep or a couple of hours sleep, it's fine. We'll just grab our stuff and head to the airport. Do you know this story, Lewis? What could go wrong? Which airport was it that you went to? I think it was Gatwick. I think you went to Gatwick. So they got to the airport, both feeling pretty awful. And Lewis, his girlfriend's not too happy that she's been kept out. She's feeling pretty bad. So he sits her down, bottle of water, and says, look, don't worry, I'll sort it out. I'll just go and check the terminal. So he looked at the ticket and was looking for Terminal 3 at Heathrow. He'd got the wrong airport. I don't think it's the only time he's missed a flight, though. Is that right? I think you've missed a couple? Nah. Anyway, so the second travel experience involves Nicole. So shortly after they met, Lewis decided to take Nicole to Portugal. I think it was on their third date, no less. Sounds pretty romantic. He was living with me at the time, and being quite conservative, I thought, maybe a bit soon. But he said, no, this girl's pretty special. So one would have thought, therefore, if you're going to do that, you're going to pull out all the stops. Nice restaurants, lovely hotels, etc. However, they got to their hotel, a place called Bruno's. Now, I mean, just the name. I don't know much about it other than the name, but I think it tells me enough. But what I do know is that it was so bad that Nicole refused to stay there. And she found, and I think actually paid for, well, I'm not sure about that bit, a luxury hotel around the corner. I'm still not quite sure where Lewis stayed that night, whether he was stuck in Bruno's or at a hotel. Nicole, I cannot imagine what you must have been thinking at that time. And Lewis, I don't know how you managed to pull that round. At least, though, you got the right airport. And at this stage, just for comparison purposes, I'd like to add that Lewis and I went to Portugal once. We stayed at a lovely hostel. Lewis booked it, and on our door when I got there, and above our bed, sorry, Freudian slip there, beds, was a big heart with the words Quarto dos Namorados, which I later learnt means room for lovers. Now, read into that what you will. I'll just finish with two final things. On a serious note, Lewis and Nicole, you're both amazing. You've got a great future together, and just an example of you being amazing is the fact you've asked for no presents, but instead for the donations to charity that you mentioned before, which is incredibly generous. So, just to say, if you've not yet made a donation, please do. And finally, a word of advice for Nicole. And I can say this as I'm not married. Nicole, a husband is like a tiled floor. Lay it right the first time, and you can walk all over it for years. So, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and raise your glasses to the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins.